Hello and welcome to Greenlight. I'm your host, Jennifer Edwards, the Director of Marketing Communications here at Landis+Gyr. And we're kicking off this year's series by talking about sustainability, technology, and innovation with John Romero. John Romero is our Vice President of Industry Solutions, which really means he's at the forefront of innovation at Landis+Gyr. So as you all know, the green energy future is really upon us, and it's really an important topic for all of us. We understand that what we do as a company and what we do as an industry really matters, and Landis+Gyr is truly working to build a brighter energy future through innovation and partnership. So who better than unpack these topics with us than John Romero? So like I said, John leads a lot of our innovation efforts here at Landis+Gyr, and he's truly passionate about sustainability. So thank you, John, for joining us today.
Hey, well, thanks, Jen.
So John, before we dive into these topics, can you give everyone a brief introduction?
Well, I'm new to Landis+Gyr, as you know. I started in August of this year, and I came to Landis+Gyr after spending 30 years at Colorado Springs Utilities, which is a four-service municipal utility that provides water, wastewater, gas, and electric to a combined meter population of about 500,000. And once I retired, I had the opportunity to come to work at Landis+Gyr and join the family. And I was really excited about this opportunity because I've known a lot of people at Landis+Gyr for many years, and I've seen the talent in the employee base and also the vision for the technology that is helping the world manage energy better. And I just wanted to be part of that.
So your experience lends itself a unique perspective. You know, you bring that true utility perspective to what we do. And from a sustainability perspective, I know you and I have talked about this before, but tell us a little bit about why you're passionate about sustainability.
Sure. Jan, I think it's really important to first level set on the meaning of sustainability, because it can have a lot of varying definitions depending on who you are and who you're speaking with. And when I think about sustainability, I'm thinking about renewable fuel sources, reducing carbon emissions, reducing unnecessary use of water, protecting the environment. And a lot of times people think that comes with sacrificing something, right? We think about turning down the heat and putting on a sweater, or turning up the AC so that it's warmer in the house. Or sometimes we think about buying an electric vehicle, but we might have limited transportation range or a vehicle that's really not aesthetically pleasing. So what really makes me passionate about sustainability is that I absolutely think that we have a responsibility to protect our natural environment, but I also think that we can do this by driving innovation and not compromising on our way of life while keeping things affordable for everyone.
I completely agree. So what role do utilities play in promoting, this clean and green energy future?
I think if we look at greenhouse gas emissions by economic sector, we're looking at the electric generation is the second highest cause of emissions following the transportation sector, but only by about 1%. It's 28% versus 27%. So following that is industry, commercial, and residential use, and finally agriculture. But when we start digging into the numbers, we see that the primary cause of greenhouse gas emissions for commercial, industrial, and residential is in the use of fossil fuels for energy, heating, and lighting. These four sectors, they account for 90% of all the greenhouse gas emissions. So when you start excluding agriculture, which is primarily driven by livestock, right, you're looking at this from a much bigger picture. Utilities have the ability to influence 90% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So they're really the nucleus of solving this problem. As you start to see electrification, for example, of the transportation industry, utilities can provide a double benefit, because as they start to move towards renewable sources of energy, which lowers their carbon emissions, they also have the ability to displace fossil fuels in traditional vehicles today, as more consumers are moving to electric vehicles and they change from using a fossil fuel to charging their vehicle with clean renewable energy.
It's all incredibly exciting stuff, and I know we're only scratching the surface. But that number that you rattled off, 90%. It's a huge number. Sure, what we do as consumers is still 10%, but 10% is important. But when you think about the bigger infrastructure, that's 90%, we have the ability to impact that in tremendous ways, which is super exciting. So I absolutely love that. how do you see us, Landis+Gyr, supporting the green energy future?
Well, I think we play a really important role. As I mentioned, utilities have the ability to influence 90% of the carbon emissions that are there. They're really relying on their technical solution providers also. So it's not just about moving to renewable energy or batteries or electric vehicles. It's how do you also adapt to that technology that's happening mostly on the distribution side now, right? So you're starting to see electric vehicles impacting what happens from a generation perspective, potentially a vehicle to grid kind of situation, or you're looking at the ability to provide more efficient use of all the technology that's available for consumers so they can, lower the energy use that they have in their home. And so when you start looking at the Landis+Gyr solutions, I think that one of the biggest things that we have to offer really is more that strategic partnership. We have a lot of technology. What's most important is that our long-term relationships with our customers, our utility base, and also our technical providers really sets us apart from everybody else. And we're going to see that a base of technology is really important. But what's important is that the provider also understands what's happening in the utility industry and is there to provide a solution to very unique situations that may occur in every single utility. Certainly there's a foundation, right? Everyone's moving towards electric vehicles or rooftop solar or potentially batteries, but every utility may encounter something just a little bit different. And if you have a partner that understands your business, is close to you, and really knows where you're trying to go in the future, we can take that technology and provide some very innovative solutions that are more custom to you, even though we may have more of a general portfolio. So I think that's really important, is the partnership. So you start thinking about some of the technology. One of the things that we talk about a lot is our Romero meter. This is the next meter that's coming available in the next year and a half or so. And the ability to have grid edge applications loaded right on the meter will give customers and our utilities information that they've never really had before. They're actually having a sensor at the grid edge versus just a meter. And that's going to really transform the way utilities can do business. You think about also the partnerships that go along with that. We have grid edge technology, and a lot of that's driven by our partnership with Sense. And if people aren't familiar with Sense, it's an incredible technology where people are putting a little box right now on their breaker box, and then it disaggregates the load and shows customers really what's happening inside their home. Is it the electric oven that's causing the most energy use, or is it certain lighting that's causing energy use, and when is it happening? That's going to get built into our meter. So consumers will have the ability to see what's happening inside their home, which really empowers the consumer to do things that they've never done before with our grid edge technology. But that's just one piece of looking at our technology mixed with what's happening with our strategic relationships that we have, for example, with Sense. But we also have relationships that are looking at what's happening with PayGo, for example, the ability to have consumers pay as you go. Right? So that is going to really change the way consumers can really be more empowered to take some additional measures around how they're actually using energy within their home. Or Vodafone. When we start thinking about the cellular options that are available and people moving to 5G, or maybe a network that's all cellular instead of a mesh network, there's a transition happening on that side of the technology too. And we want to stay at the forefront of that, allowing consumers to have choice. And I think it's really important for all of our customers to have choice in the standardization of different protocols that are out there so that they can interoperate with different technologies and they're just not cornered into one technology. And I think that really drives everyone to be better. Obviously Landis+Gyr's technology is better than anyone else's. But the fact is, utilities will have a choice, right? And that drives everyone to make sure that they're driving to the best technology that's available, because we know that everyone will have a choice. And then probably our latest announcement is with a partnership with Google, right? And opening us up to the cloud and AI. And what people, I think, really get the value out of technology is truly understanding that data is good. There's going to be more data for the utilities than ever before. When we're looking at a Romero meter and we're looking at a grid sensor, we're actually seeing streaming information, streaming voltage and energy use, and all the different fault indicators that could happen because of if a fault happens, we see waveform data. Now, what do you do with that? So being able to partner with someone who really understands AI and cloud technology just opens up the door for utilities to do things that they've never thought of before.
Right, truly, truly limitless potential. So, John, this has been incredible, and you gave us so much great information there. So we really, truly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure speaking with you.
So as you all heard, we're kicking off the year with a lot of important and exciting topics. So we have a lot of information coming your way in 2021. Landis+Gyr is truly leading the way from an innovation standpoint with our Google Cloud partnership, continued work on Romero and Gridstream Connect, and bringing cellular solutions as well. So there's a tremendous amount to unpack in future episodes of Greenlight. So look for us here. Thank you for joining us, and I hope everyone has an incredible 2021.